Hello guys, NautoAce here, and in this part I want to basically give a brief history of packing game and why, in my opinion, it should be a good idea to put in a game in the system. So if you, and basically the reason I'm doing this is that, of course, everybody knows they're following the Switch news. Nintendo reveal about the system, but unfortunately, the system will not come in a packing game. And I did a video about my thoughts about that because they asked Reggie, "Hey, how come the Switch doesn't have a packing game?" And his basically answer was, "Well, we want consumers to have their own option to what to buy the game." So it's basically there's, and again, even IGN basically reported it. A lot of GameSpot, a lot of web news on video games basically said the same thing, is that in order to keep it at $300, we can't put in a packing game because then it's going to be $350, then it's going to be like the Nintendo Deluxe, and people are not going to buy it. And the thing is, the point of a packing game is to help the consumer be enticed to buy more games. First, they'll buy the system. Is the system good or not? So you get the free game, packing game. And so you're trying to pack in game, whatever system it is, and then when they have fun, they'll say, "Oh wow, so this is with the system. This system is fun. Maybe I'll buy more games." But lately, the business is different, and the reason why is that like I said before, packing game is something that's only in, to some extent, in America. Maybe it's also in Europe. In Japan, they never ever done a packing game because the Japanese company don't believe on packing game. It's something that it's an American thing to some extent, because especially with the NES, because it was a time when Nintendo's trying to bring game, like trying to revive the gaming industry. So you can have to prove it. Why NES? Why is it so good? So their strategy was to put in a packing game. And yes, even in the past, the Magnavox Odyssey did come a packing game, which is Pong. And apparently, even with Atari, it had a packing game. From what I heard, Combat. And then it could be also the ColecoVision and Television. They probably came in with a packing game. Unfortunately, I was too young to understand that. The first time I understand a packing game was the NES. Counter to that is that, yes, the Famicom doesn't have a packing game. I kind of remember it when I was young in my own country, when my family bought me a Famicom. Yes, it didn't really come with a packing game. My parents had to buy a game so I can play it. So again, it's a good idea to put in a packing game. Definitely, because again, it help entice consumer to say, "Oh, so this system is fun. I'll buy more games." But yeah, the problem is that packing game does cost money. But the whole point of the packing game, and I said it before on my packing Switch, like not having a packing game on the Switch, is just like a bundle. You cut some losses because in the long run, chances are more people will buy more games on your console. The problem why now at this time of age packing game is not a really good idea, because systems are costing more and they really can't, i.e., bite the dust. Because when you put a packing game, you do sort of get a discount if you break down the package with the content of the system. And a lot of time, chances are that game, almost like I said, costs cheap to a free. Consumer loves that, but the business, of course, is the opposite. They don't want that, because again, same deal. That's gonna be, "Oh well, this is an opportunity. We need to make it a profit." That's the deal. And like I said, is that with the Nintendo Wii U Deluxe model became the new standard. It's not even called the Deluxe anymore. They just call it the Nintendo Wii U with a packing game. for $300, they were losing a lot of money. And like I said, packing game are meant to, in the long run, is yes, you are gonna be, you gotta cut your losses because it is gonna, like your profit's gonna go down. But in the long run, it will help you. But again, the problem is either, as Factor would say now, ever since the HD era, companies are taking less risk than before because when they take risks and something goes wrong, they can lose more money than before. That's why now they kind of avoid doing back in game. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but that's what the business is now. But then you can ask, well, what are the packing game that entice you to have the system and buy more games? So, like I said, the Famicom didn't really have a packing game. However, the Nintendo Entertainment System, which is the American version of a Famicom, did. And I think in 1985, they actually came out with multiple SKUs. There was a thing, there was the deluxe set, there was the action set, and the controller deck set. Yeah, those are the three initial SKU for the NES. And there was also one that comes with Super Mario Bros. I forget what it's called. Someone called it like, I guess it's called the deluxe set. I guess. Yeah, I think that's the deluxe set. My mistake. Okay. There were multiple SKUs. Let's just say for the NES. So there was a thing. Was the deluxe set, which it came with only with Super Mario Brothers, and then the most popular one, the action set that came with a dual game of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, and yes, it comes with a zapper. Excuse me. Then there was called the Power Set, which not only came with Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers, along with Zapper. It was Track and Meat with the Power Pad. Very expensive at that time, and not so popular because there's not a lot of games with the Power Pad. I mean, at one point I asked my parents to get me that one rather than an action set, but they said, no, the action set makes sense because you're not going to be playing the Power Pad, which is true. The most popular one was the action set because it comes with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, and it had a decent price. There was also the controller deck without any game, but the whole point is it had multiple SKUs giving consumer option. Again, sometimes I agree with option, but there are times when option has to be eliminated in order to basically entice people to buy the game or the system and buy more games, because you give them option, sometimes it just doesn't work. Like I said, I do believe in option, but there are times that when you do option, there is some ramification. I mean, an example was the Kinect. By making it mandatory, then developer can do something. Oh well, it's mandatory Kinect. We can do something with the Kinect, but people didn't like it, so Phil Spencer had to change it, and now it's an option. So the developer now will say, "Well, should we put in the Kinect feature or not?" Different story, but that's what it is about option. So, like I said, the NES did have multiple SKU, and then we go to the Sega Master System, their NES version for Sega. You might say, well, did it come in a packing game? And the answer is actually, from what I heard, it actually did. It's basically trying to emulate the action set, because what it is that the Sega Master actually came with Hang On, which is a bike game, but 8-bit for 8-bit for the Sega Master, and it also came with a gun called the Phaser, and the game is called Safari Hunt. It's their version of Duck Hunt, but again, it's Sega. I know, I do apologize, but yeah, it came with those two games. Plus, apparently, for every Sega Master System, there was a hidden code you do, and there's a third game in it, but it's a very simple game. But yeah, then you get 3 games. Again, packing game. You get those packing games, you try those games, then, oh, you're having fun, you're enticed to buy more games. That's basically one of the main reasons why you should have a packing game. Then, of course, comes the Sega Genesis. Yes, when the Sega Genesis first came, it came with Alter Beast, and then later on came with Sonic the Hedgehog because it came in later. But yeah, Alter Beast was the first game. Again, enticing people. Wow, this Alter Beast is fun. I want to play more Sega Genesis game. So, moving on, Super Nintendo came with Super Mario World. Again, you couldn't buy the game by itself, because there's another thing about a packing game is exclusivity. The point of a packing game, besides like I said, enticing people to buy more games, is a type of game that you cannot get anywhere else unless you buy the system. So Super Mario World, nobody couldn't get the game until a new SKU came in, and then all suddenly now you can buy Super Mario World by itself. But at the time, Super Mario World was exclusive to the console. You couldn't buy it by itself at launch. Same goes with Alter Beast. Believe it or not, to some extent, Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt, or Super Mario Brothers itself, or the one with Track and Meat. Again, you couldn't get it by itself. You had to buy it with the console. Okay, so then comes the 32-bit era. So it first started with Sega Saturn. Apparently, it came with 3 games: Daytona USA, Virtual Fighter 2, and Virtual Cop. Granted, the Sega Saturn didn't really come with light gun. You had to buy it separately, but hey, free game is free game. It came in with 3 packing game, which is really awesome. But again, it's a packing game, it's enticing people to see the system because it finally came in the game. Then, oh, it's fun. I'll buy more game, buy more accessory for it, blah 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 blah. So the Sega Saturn basically had a packing game. Then came with the PlayStation. This one, I trying to find something about it because at the time I was still in high school, but I didn't really understand the SKU with the PlayStation. Came out in 1996. I'm reading in history about it, and some people said the PlayStation actually came with Ridge Racer at launch. I could be wrong. I'm guessing maybe the initial launch of the PlayStation said, hey, we buy that launch for $199, you get Ridge Racer for free. Then down the line they got rid of it, and there was no packing game. However, like I said, it may be Ridge Racer a packing game. What Sony did a bit different to compromise both business and consumer is they put in a demo disc. Yes, with the PlayStation, they're the one that introduced demo disc. And you might say, well, demo disc is not a packing game. Well, yes and no, but to some extent it's still free. You do kind of play the game, so it is sort of a packing game per se. Again, you're getting free experience with the system because it has some game. Yes, I mean, demo is the demo. I remember when I did buy my PlayStation, it came with a PlayStation demo. Sort of a packing game, but it's a free game. Yes. It's not like Sega Saturn with, the 3 games. PlayStation came with a demo disc. But from what I heard, that in the initial release, it had Ridge Racer. Again, not really knowledge of the history of the PlayStation's launch. Then the N64. Yes, this is actually Nintendo's first console that did not come with a packing game. And you might say, well, why not Super Mario 64? Well, it's a popular game. Why would Nintendo do it? That's going to be a missed opportunity. Like I said before in my previous video, if they see something as a missed opportunity to not make a profit, why should they do it in? Should the N64 have a packing game? Yes, but again, Nintendo is Nintendo, and this is the era that started Nintendo, their new standard to not put in a packing game. I do really wish that it's an industry standard to put in a packing game, but again, it's about profit, it's about money, it is, unfortunately. So yes, the N64 didn't really came with any game. You had to buy a game. Okay, so we're moving to the PS2 era. That's the Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, GameCube, and the original Xbox. Again, starting with the Dreamcast. Unfortunately, also from what I heard, it didn't come with a back-in actual game, like a real game. But from what I also heard, that it did come with a demo. So again, you get the experience. But again, it should have been a like actual retail game. But again, it's a to some extent it's a compromise of business and consumer. I think it's BS, but again, it's a business. PS2, same deal. It didn't come with a game at the initial launch. It did really come with a demo disc. However, at the time there was this program before it became PlayStation something, I can't remember. Before that, people will know this during the early 2000s is PlayStation Underground, which is sort of their Club Nintendo type thing. And there was a card that you sign in, you fill it up, you mail it to Sony, they'll give you a free demo. So yeah, I did that, got my free demo. Again, you said that's not a real game. True, but it's still a game that was included and it was free. There you go. But yeah, so it counts with a demo. But basically what Sony strategized is, why put in a packing game and we can do a lot of profit or money? Let's compromise. Let's put in some demo, some little bit, which is fine. Tech demo, something, but demo's a demo. There you go. So PlayStation Dreamcast had a demo to some extent. PlayStation 2. Then it comes with the GameCube. Again, just like the N64, it did not come with any game. And I don't think it even had a demo until later on. But yeah, the GameCube didn't really have a demo. Again, really unfortunate. I mean, it finally, down the line, they did have a packing game, which is the Legend of Zelda Collector's Collection Edition. But before that was excuse me, didn't really have a packing game. Again, it's Nintendo not doing a packing game, the start of not putting a packing game. Not really familiar with the Xbox from what I heard. The same deal with PlayStation. They didn't come with a game, but it came with a demo. I don't know if it's an actual disc demo or you download it on their online service Xbox Live. Who knows? I do apologize. I'm not really knowledgeable with the Xbox. I never really had an Xbox personally. So moving there is now the HD era. So this is going to be tricky because yes, most of the consoles didn't come in a packing game. However, it's also the era that onlines are now integrated with video game. So we'll start with the Xbox 360. Yes, there were two SKU, but both of them didn't really have a packing game. Again, no packing game. I don't even think it had a demo on the system. However, since you get to connect to the online, they had a store. There's a lot of demos in the store. Again, why need a disc for a demo in a disc if you can just download them? Plus, 360 actually had some free games. Believe it or not, they're not big one, they're not good one. Again, free game. It shows the capability to some extent of the console. So there were Aegis Wing, which is a free game, and Yaris, which is based on Yaris car. That was a free game at one point, but then they got rid of it for license issue. But again, there you go, your free games. Then we'll move to the PlayStation 3. Yeah, it's a $600 system. $600. Freaking ridiculous. I bought one at launch. I was stupid about it and paid the price. That will be a different story, different vlog. Okay, back to the PS3. The initial PS3, what the strategy was, instead of a game, you get a free it comes with a free Blu-ray. I think it was Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Not a bad movie, but you have the Hercules vibe, Sam Raimi. Again, different story. It came with the Blu-ray in the initial release, like in November and December. I got it for January. They didn't have it anymore. But then you're saying, well, shouldn't have a packing game. And again, like I said, this is time also when internet is integrated with the console. You can get demos and free game on the PS3. You're like, wait, there's free games? Believe it or not, there are. The one I can think of is so there's a puzzle game, like a light version. Think of it as the Super Mario Run light version. So there was a starter version, which is actually a game, but you don't get everything until you pay. But as a starter version, which is free. Sudoku was actually a free game. Doesn't really show the capability of the PS3, but Sudoku in HD. Excuse me, why not? And Gran Turismo HD. Again, because it's the HD era, showing HD graphic, Gran Turismo HD. It's a free game. Again, doesn't have really a lot of content for Gran Turismo, but again, it's a free game. Think of it as like a mini game per se. There you go. So you say, oh, well, PS didn't have any game. Well, if you think about the retail game in the Blu-ray, then yeah. But connect to the online, there you go. Got some free games there. Yeah, it's weird, but again, a game is a game. Then the Nintendo Wii. The most popular game, the Wii, that's why it sold a lot. And it actually also, even in Japan, they done this for the first time, is Wii Sports. It's a game you couldn't even get until later on when they had a new SKU for the Wii. Wii Sports was so popular in the Wii on the HD era. You couldn't find a Wii because people wanted to try Wii Sports. That was the most popular game. Yes, maybe this is the reason why Nintendo didn't want to do a packing game, because it backfired them with Wii Sports. Because people bought the Wii for Wii Sports. They said, and like I said, packing games are supposed to help you buy more games. It went to the opposite with Wii Sports because casual don't really care about hardcore game. They just like the Wii Sports experience again. But the Wii had a packing game. They even gloat on that. They even boasted that there was a free game. But now they didn't. So after that, we're now moving to the resolution era, that's why I call it, which is with the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Wii U. Let's start with Nintendo Wii U because it came out first. I did talk about it. They did have two SKU. You had the basic set without a game and the deluxe set that comes with a game. The problem is that Nintendo Land had a potential to be a packing game that you couldn't get anywhere else, but they also decided to release it as a game for $60. Or you buy it with the deluxe, it's $50 because you get you kind of see that, like I said, that bundle price. They're cutting a bit of loss. Then of course the history, they made that to the standard. They lost a lot of money. But the point is, it had a packing game. If Nintendo Land was just an exclusive packing game, it's probably a different story, because Nintendo Land actually showed the capability of the Wii U. But when they decided to sell it as the software itself, standalone software, for $60, that was the problem there. So again, but it had a packing game. Okay, we'll move to the Xbox One. I think that's what the first one released. No, it was a PlayStation 4. But let's just talk about the Xbox One. Yeah, the initial one for $499 because it had a Kinect. It had a Kinect, that's why it's $500. And again, if they were selling it for $400 with the Kinect, I bet you the story will be different. But of course, again, it's a money problem, profit problem. Again, it is kind of the same thing, because if they probably put in the game, they probably have to raise the price. But you don't do that in the packing game. Again, so going back to the Xbox One, that's not a packing game. No. But again, just like the 360, there were demos you can try out. And for the first time, there are free-to-play games. Again, do they have the console experience, retail AAA game? Maybe. but it had a free game. In the beginning, it had Neverwinter Nights. That was, I think, it came out. There were other free-to-play games, but the point is, they were free-to-play game. So why do you need a packing game if there's free-to-play game? And again, the whole point of a free packing game is not a game of your choice. It's a game that shows the capability of the system. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it does, but it's a free game. Same goes with the PlayStation 4. There's demos that come out. More free-to-play games. I can't remember what one of game. I think one of that came out was DC Online, DC Universe Online. That was one of the free game. I think there were other free-to-play game, but the point is, you got those free-to-play game. Plus, well, if it's, I know it didn't, but if it did include like a PlayStation Plus, then you get free games from PlayStation Plus. Again, different story because it didn't really come with PlayStation Plus. If it did, then yeah, it would be a different story. But the thing is, yes, the PlayStation 4 initially did not come a retail game, a AAA retail game, but there were a lot of demos and free-to-play game if you connect to the internet. So there you go, that's your free game. Yeah, so there you go. And then now we came to the Switch, which unfortunately doesn't come with a free game because Reggie said if they did, it'll be $350. Okay, fine, whatever. Here's just my hopeful prediction. I doubt it. Again, if the Switch, you can go, there's an eShop right now, they're not talking about it. If they got some demos, yes, demos, and free to start, because it's Nintendo, they don't believe in free to play, they call it free to start. You can just download it on the Switch and try them out. There you go. Now you got your free packing game. I mean, the point is, yeah, when people think of packing game, it's a retail disc that comes with it, or sometimes a download to cut costs. Maybe, but a lot of this company needs to think outside the box to compromise making a profit, but they say the same thing. Hey, we got a free game. So maybe the Switch will have a free-to-play game, a free-to-start game. I don't know what it is. I mean, they're doing free-to-start game on their mobile, so why not in the console? So maybe there's a free-to-start on the Nintendo Switch. Who knows? But if it does, then there you go. I mean, I don't think it costs, you need to pay an online service to go to the eShop. That's only for online, and you get premium stuff. And of course, it doesn't come really with a Nintendo service. Maybe that's down the line. But again, I'm only hoping my compromise is, fine, you know what, I'm putting one to Switch, which is, I think it's good, rather than selling it for $50, because I think that's ridiculous. But whatever, you go to the eShop, you download a free to start game, there you go. You got your packing game there. So that's really the history of the packing game, starting with the NES. It is not something that Japanese like to do. It's not, you don't see it in Japan. This is something that's outside of Japan. The whole point of a packing game is to give incentive to the consumer. Oh, this game is fun. I see the capability of the system. I want to buy more games for that system. Yes, you do cut a loss. You have to bite the dust when you put a packing game, part of the bundle. But the problem is, most of this company, they probably want their cake and eat it too. You can't have your cake and eat it too, but they want to eat their cake. Kinda selfish, but I know they gotta make profit. That's why you got no choice. So, again, coming back to the Switch, fine, you don't want to put a packing game. Hopefully, there's a free to start game on the Nintendo Switch, and if it doesn't, then it's going to be a problem, because $300 with no game, well, no free game, kinda, but at the same time, you have to. I hate to say this because Shokio doesn't like it, but Shokio, sometimes you do have to wait and see what's going to happen. Because Reggie did say that in the month of February, they are going to talk more about the Switch, about the Virtual Console, what's the eShop, the hub, will this have achievement, what would the online be doing? Because right now we're still in January. If I upload this in January, there's a lot of time. You got after that, you got more than 4 weeks. So that's my thoughts about packing game. I still believe they should be coming in, whether it's digital or physical. But I know times has changed. The business is different than before. Manufacturing, producing console costs more money, and especially for Nintendo after the Wii U failure. Yes, I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. Kirishima is trying ways to why switch, but at the same time trying to figure out to make a profit, because right now, no packing games, $300, kind of hard to justify. But again, you don't know yet until you try it. Plus, the accessories, even though had a lot of feature in it, were very expensive. And a new report was that the Joy-Con that comes with the console doesn't really charge. If you want to charge your Joy-Con, you gotta dock it with the Switch console, and you put it on the dock. That's how you charge it. So that's the history of packing game. I do believe they should be in, but we'll just see what happens in the long run. Yeah, so with that, that's it for now. I'll see you guys later, and thanks for listening. So I just want to make a correction on this video, and the first correction is that I thought even in Japan, in the Wii in Japan, they also pack in Wii Sports. Well, I did more reading about it, and I was wrong. Apparently they don't, so my theory was right, that in Japan, they don't do packing game in their Nintendo console ever since the Famicom. So I guess it's no different. Yes, Wii Sports was sold separately in Japan. They only sold the Wii by itself. Again, like I said, it's an outside Japan thing by the packing game. But in Japan, they basically don't do it. Again, it could be the business reason, could be the yen conversion with dollars. It's a business thing, I guess. Gonna make more profit. Probably that makes more sense. So yeah, that was one of my mistakes that I can mention. I thought they were trying to change the way, but I was wrong. So yes, no packing game even on the Wii. So that's my fault there. Yeah, so that's, I think, the only correction for my packing game vlog. Again, in Japan they just don't do it. Yeah. So yeah, again, thanks for listening.